Welcome to the Wealth Dialogue. I'm Emily.
And I'm Jack.
Okay, let's start with a mystery. You have two people, right? Same city, same education, maybe they even work at the same company, and they bring home the exact same salary. But you fast forward, say, 5 or 10 years, and one is quietly building some real, actual wealth, while the other is, well, they're just running in place. Why does that happen?
That's the essential question our sources are really tackling today. It's this central paradox in personal finance.
Yeah.
And when we see that gap, our first instinct is to look for reasons outside of them. We blame the market or we say one person got lucky.
Or that there's some kind of genius. But our sources, they dig into what they call the mental architecture of wealth construction, and they're really clear on this. It's not luck. It's not raw talent.
No, it's about a very specific, almost quiet mental shift. A shift that most people they never make. It's an internal design choice.
An architectural choice. I like that.
Exactly. So our mission today is to basically break down the blueprints for that internal architecture. We're going to strip away all the talk about, specific stocks or budgeting apps.
Yeah.
And we're going to focus purely on the mindset, the perspective that consistently creates wealth over time.
Okay, let's unpack that. I think most of us are conditioned, really, to believe that wealth starts with just more money, more income.
That's the big misconception. It's the trap that keeps people spinning their wheels.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you give someone who's financially stuck a raise, what almost always happens?
Lifestyle creep. The expenses just rise to meet the new income.
Predictably.
Yeah.
Every single time. So the problem isn't the size of their bucket. It's the hole in the bottom of it. Wealth doesn't start with how much you earn. It starts with how you think about what you earn.
So if you're waiting for a bigger paycheck to solve a thinking problem, you're going to be waiting a long, long time.
Forever, probably.
So if the average person is focused on income, what is the wealth builder focusing on instead?
They're focused relentlessly on decisions.
Yes, decisions.
Yeah. Income is a variable. It goes up and down with the economy, your boss, your industry. But decisions,
Yeah.
that's a lever you control every single day, no matter what you earn. It's the quality of your choices that compounds.
That feels like a really fundamental distinction. Same amount of money coming in, but totally different outcomes, all because of the little conversation happening inside your head. So let's break down that internal conversation. When the typical person is looking at a purchase, what's the question they're asking themselves?
The typical mindset, the one that keeps you stuck, asks one simple, very short-sighted question. Can I afford this?
Right. Is the money in my account right now?
Exactly. It's all about the current budget. If the balance can cover it, the purchase gets a green light. It's binary. It's immediate.
Okay, so what's the other question, the strategic one?
That mindset asks a far, far better question. Does this move me forward?
That changes everything.
It changes the entire calculation. It moves the focus from immediate affordability to future trajectory. You're not evaluating the purchase against your wallet anymore. You're evaluating it against your goals.
So you're asking, is this thing an asset? Is it an investment? Or is it just consumption? Something that just gives me a little hit of comfort right now.
Exactly. So instead of just checking your bank balance, you're checking if the purchase aligns with where you want to be in 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
It moves the conversation from scarcity, do I have enough, to strategy.
Yeah.
Is this strategic?
And that shift alone is it's huge.
It is, because it forces you to be accountable to your future self.
Okay, so that brings up another really interesting idea, time horizons. You said the wealthy approach is often seen as boring. But if it's so boring, how do people stick with it? I mean, isn't that the reason most people fail? We crave excitement. We want those instant results.
That is the core friction point, you're right. The common pitfall is that we are all chasing short-term comfort.
We're wired for it.
We are hardwired for instant gratification. We want the quick wins, the immediate status upgrades, the dopamine hit of something new right now.
Which, like we said, puts you on that financial treadmill. You get a raise, you immediately upgrade the car, the apartment, and you never actually get ahead.
Whereas the wealthy approach, it operates on a radically extended time horizon. It accepts that there's a necessary boring phase. They just understand that real wealth isn't flashy. It's built slowly, behind the scenes through years of consistent, unexciting decisions.
So what does that boring actually look like in practice?
It looks like the silent, relentless power of compounding.
Okay.
I mean, nobody gets excited about automating a monthly contribution to an index fund for 3 years straight. It doesn't make for a good photo. It doesn't give you a rush of status.
Right.
But that growth, that compounding working behind the scenes, that's the real engine. It's the total opposite of a quick win. It's like watching paint dry, but then that paint turns into a fortress over time.
So the lack of drama is actually the point.
The lack of drama is the key feature. People confuse complexity with effectiveness. They think if it's simple, like just consistently saving, it can't be the real secret. They want a hot stock tip, not discipline.
So for you listening, that moment you're tempted by an instant upgrade, you have to ask, am I buying this because it truly moves me forward or just because my brain wants that little comfort reward?
That's the question.
And that difference between reward and tool, that leads us to the next big idea, right? How wealthy people actually view money.
Yeah, they see money as a tool, not as a reward.
What's the difference?
Well, when most people get paid, they see that money as direct compensation for the work they just did. It's a reward. And so they feel totally justified in spending it on immediate pleasure. It's the end of the transaction.
But the wealth-building mindset sees the paycheck as the beginning of a transaction.
Exactly. So for them, it's a tool. And it's a tool used to get 3 specific strategic advantages.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, money is a tool to buy time.
Buy time, I like that.
If your money is working for you, you're less trapped by a bad job or a sudden expense. Building assets means you are literally buying back hours of your own life.
So that means having enough of a cushion to, I don't know, take 6 months to find a job you actually like instead of just grabbing the first offer because you're desperate.
Precisely. It buys you choice. Second, it's a tool to reduce stress.
Mm-hmm.
Financial anxiety is maybe the biggest mental burden for most people. It just kills your cognitive ability.
Mm-hmm.
So building an emergency fund, for example, that's not about the interest you earn. It's about reducing the cognitive load of worrying. It's mental health care.
And the third advantage?
It's about creating options.
Hmm.
If you just see money as spending power, the only option it creates is consumption, a new pair of shoes.
Right.
But if you see it as leverage, it creates options for a career change, for more education, for moving somewhere new, for starting a business.
And that's such a sharp contrast to just seeing it as spending power. If it's just for spending, then the only logical thing to do is spend it.
Right. You maximize comfort. But if you see it as a tool for future optionality, you conserve it. You deploy it strategically. You make it work for you.
And that one little conceptual difference, it changes everything.
It really does. It changes where all your energy goes.
Okay, so this is where the rubber meets the road. If you're listening and you recognize that you have that "can I afford this" mindset, what are the practical, immediate shifts you can make?
You have to interrupt that instant gratification loop. You need to create a bit of friction where there was none before.
Okay, so what's shift number 1?
Shift 1 is delay pleasure. This is a cognitive interruption technique. You see something you want, and the rule is you force yourself to wait, let's say 48 hours before you buy it.
Just a 2-day pause.
That's it. That pause is enough for the initial dopamine rush to fade, and it gives the rational, future-focused part of your brain a chance to chime in and ask that critical question. Does this actually move me forward?
That's powerful. You're weaponizing procrastination against your own impulses. What's number 2?
Shift 2. Track decisions, not just expenses.
What does that mean?
Stop being just a passive accountant. When you look at your bank statement, don't just see $50 on food delivery. Ask, was that a strategic decision?
Did it save me time that I used productively, or was it just I was lazy?
Exactly. You focus on the why behind the transaction, not just the what, the quality of the decision.
So it becomes a strategic review. I like that. What's third?
Third is to think yearly, not monthly. Monthly thinking keeps you trapped in reaction mode. You're just reacting to bills and debt payments.
Is short-term survival.
It is. Wealth planning needs a longer view. So set up automated quarterly investment schedules, not just monthly savings. That forces you to look at the 12-month trajectory and makes the little monthly ups and downs seem less important.
And number 4 gets back to that idea of your future self.
Absolutely. Shift 4 is to ask, will future me thank me for this?
The anti-resentment strategy.
Yes. Every time you're about to sacrifice a long-term goal for short-term comfort, you're basically asking your future self to resent the you of today. By just asking that question, you make the consequences of today's choice feel immediate and real.
I think we all have a few subscriptions that future us is definitely not happy about. Okay, and what's the last one? Number 5.
Shift 5. Buy assets before upgrades. And we need to be really clear on the difference.
Okay.
An upgrade is replacing something that works with something a little fancier that doesn't generate income. The bigger TV, the more expensive vacation. An asset, on the other hand, generates value, or saves you significant time, or creates future income.
So prioritize the thing that builds your future before you inflate your present.
Always. Prioritize the course that increases your skills, or the investment that compounds, before you indulge in the lifestyle upgrade. Assets create options. Upgrades just increase your bills.
To make this all stick, let's go back to that real-life example from the sources, the story of the two coworkers.
Agreed. It's the perfect illustration, because it proves that income wasn't the deciding factor. It was neutralized.
Okay, so set the scene.
You have two coworkers. Same department, same salary, same raises over a decade. Coworker A was the classic comfort seeker. His internal monologue was always, I worked hard, I deserve this.
I've earned it.
I've earned it. Every time a raise came in, he instantly used it to justify lifestyle inflation. He'd trade in his perfectly fine car for a new one with a bigger payment, just for the status. He got a nicer apartment, more subscriptions, ordered takeout constantly because he was too busy.
So he was always asking, can I afford this new monthly payment? And since the raise just came in, the answer was always yes.
Always yes. He was financially fragile. Now, coworker B was the decision-focused thinker.
Okay.
When he got a raise, his daily life barely changed. He immediately automated that extra money into two places: a long-term, low-cost investment account,
The boring part.
the very boring part, and into strategic skill development, certifications, advanced training, things that would make him more valuable.
So he wasn't depriving himself, he was just deploying his money to buy future skills and future options.
Absolutely. He resisted the dopamine hit of the new car. 10 years go by, and the results are just staggering.
What happened?
Coworker A felt completely stuck. He was buried in debt from all the upgrades, terrified of any unexpected expense, living paycheck to paycheck despite a good salary.
And coworker B.
Coworker B had significant financial freedom. He had a huge safety net. He was starting to get passive income from his investments, and because of all the skills he'd bought, he had leverage. He could eventually leave that job entirely because his money was finally working for him.
Wow. It's a perfect illustration. The income was identical. The mindset and the thousands of tiny decisions that came from it was the only thing that was different.
It just shows you, wealth isn't magic. It's not a lottery ticket. It's just mindset plus consistency.
The result of 10 years of asking, does this move me forward, instead of, can I afford this right now?
That's it.
So, to wrap up, it seems clear the key is just changing your internal architecture. And the good news is, you don't need to be rich to start thinking rich.
No, you just need to start making the decisions that a wealthier future version of you would make. Start respecting that person today.
So as you leave this deep dive and think about your own mental architecture, let's end with a final, provocative thought for you to consider. Based on this idea that wealth is built by buying time and options, what is one non-purchase commitment you make every week? A time-sucking habit, a source of digital clutter that your future you might silently resent. Think about how you use your time, not just your money, and make one conscious choice to move forward.